Hello and welcome to the Daily Brown Bag. Today we wanted to continue our discussion about guest blogging. We've run across a very interesting blog post and wanted to discuss that today. I'm Chad Hill and I'm joined by Adam Stetzer.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Brown Bag. This has been a hot topic, this guest blog posting controversy. Matt Cutts obviously kicked it off a short while ago by declaring it dead, and that sort of lit up the internet marketing community with a lot of controversy, some hurt feelings, and a lot of variation in opinion. So we want to move that discussion forward today, Chad, by highlighting a blog post written by someone who authors at Search Engine Watch, where I also have a column over at E2M Solutions. This post was written by Pratik, and we both found it pretty interesting. So I want to get into some of what Pratik is saying in his blog column and see if we can push this dialogue along, because I know a lot of people out there, Chad, in our audience are very confused. Matt Cutts says this is dead, then he backs off a little bit. Can I do it? Can't I do it? What is the state of guest blog posting, which really generalizes pretty quickly into what's okay in link building in 2014.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the first things I saw in here was that as I was reading through this article, which we'll link to, was really just the idea of like, why is guest blog posting difficult and why is it the topic right now? Because we've already talked in the past about directory links and a lot of other tactics, doorway pages and stuff that are very clear and people know when they're on the right side and the wrong side from it. But guest blog posting is one of those topics that's really, really hard, because at the end of the day, it's ultimately what people want to be doing about helping promote their message and getting out in front of new audiences. I think what Pratik talks about here is that Google is having a hard time with this one, and Matt Cutts, I think, almost in a sense of frustration said, let's put a fork in it. But at the same time, it is something that a lot of marketers get a tremendous amount of benefit from. And I think one of the things that Pratik said is that that's precisely why Google is so concerned about this, because, and is making this point, because it is very hard to say what is allowed and what's not allowed. And I think he really digs into some reasons in his blog post, specifically talking about making sure what you're doing is all about, has an audience value. Even if that link wasn't there, would it be beneficial to you and your audience to actually have that post there?
Yeah, so that's interesting, Chad, and I read that too with some interest, and it sounds like what Pratik outlined is pretty similar to Danny Sullivan's position, which is Google, if you're having a hard time with this, it doesn't mean it's okay to push the responsibility back onto the community. Work on your algorithm and figure out how to get the signals you want versus try to throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to guest blog posting. So I think that's an excellent point made over at E2M Solutions here. We'd probably agree with it. One of the other things I found very interesting, Chad, and I want to have some dialogue with you on this, and I'm hoping Pratik will chime in as well and further articulate his thoughts on this. He wrote, rule of thumb, if your guest blog posting strategy wouldn't make money if it could only include no-follow links, it's the wrong strategy. And so that's taking it way over to the super purist end of things, saying, yeah, this, I guess essentially Pratik means there the standard is extremely, extremely high. If this wouldn't make money as a standalone activity, then it is what Matt Cutts is talking about. Now later, he softens that a little bit, Chad, and I think this is interesting because he later says, please don't misunderstand me. If you don't care about search engine traffic, you're not an SEO. And he also says, as an SEO, you have to consider how your actions will impact search traffic. So here I see a little bit of a contradiction, and I'm not critical. I think this is a great blog post that they've put up, but I think it just puts right in the limelight this whole contradiction of how your intentions somehow cloud the quality of the output. At least that's how I read it. And so we all have to check ourselves on intentions, yet we often have multiple intentions, multiple competing demands on what we do. How do you take that, Chad?
I take it the same way, Adam. I mean, I think that one of the things in marketing is that you often measure your activities with multiple sort of conversions, and a lot of the talk in the sort of conversion optimization now is around micro conversions. So I think when you put effort into getting a great guest blog post up, you certainly have some intent to capture that audience and get that person to read the article and maybe come learn a little bit more about you on your website. But at the same time, you also hope that there is some value that the search engine might get from it. And I'm not so sure that we can ever, I know Matt Cutts really wants us to just say, forget about the search engine, but given that Google dominates or controls such a large percentage of the traffic on the web, I'm not sure how any marketer could really wake up in the morning and truly do that and completely divorce the two, because the two are connected and critically important.
Yeah, I hear you. And we joke about this in the training room here at HubShout and in our SEO reseller community. Think about the state trooper who's giving out tickets on the highway. They've got their laser gun, and if you're going over 65 in most states, you get the ticket, regardless of your intentions. They pull you over and say, "Well, I didn't mean to speed." Well, you were, and so you get the ticket. Now you take what Google is saying on using intentions as a measure of negativity here. If you play that through to the analogy on the highway, the state trooper could pull you over going under the speed limit and say, "But I could tell your intentions were in about 5 miles. You were going to start to speed." And so you can see how this whole thing just gets very gray and very hard to measure because you're in the world of intentions. And I think that is where Pratik in his piece on E2M Solutions blog post here gets caught up in trying to defend it. On the one hand, we want to be super pure because we are seeking the best quality content. I truly believe that. But we almost have to fool ourselves because that's what Google says we have to do, and pretend there's no value for the link because they've told us the minute we have an intention to have that incentive, we've somehow turned a corner to something negative. So I understand and fully appreciate the contradiction in that. I would really love to hear Pratik's thoughts. Hopefully he'll reply to this. I think it was an excellent blog post, and it just outlines just how crazy things are with this Google-dominated search world and how hard it is. But I think the bottom line is, our prescriptions are always the same, Chad. Just do the best you can and try to make the quality the highest you can. Well, that's our brown bag today. We hope you've enjoyed the blog post we're highlighting. We'll see you back here tomorrow.